Hello everyone, Phil here, and welcome to DSP Reacts for my recap and reactions video regarding the Xbox Games Showcase for 2024. Also, the Black Ops 6 Showcase, which they did directly after the Xbox Games Showcase. So, I have a few interesting things to mention before we even start talking about games and things that happened during the showcase. First off, they broadcast at 4K and 60 frames. Unlike the Summer Game Fest, which also did that, this one actually took advantage of it. And I want to give them credit there. When you're showcasing games at a better frame rate, at a better resolution to start, it's going to make people be more excited. And I do feel like they did a good job in that regard of showing off visually how some of these games are going to look. Summer Game Fest, everything ran at like 20 to 30 frames and nothing looked good. So I don't know what happened there. I watched the official broadcast for both, and this one just looked lots better. So I do recommend, if you end up watching the Xbox Game Showcase for yourself, the Xbox channel on YouTube has it in full 4K 60 frames. That's definitely the version you should watch, because you'll get better visuals, and I really enjoyed the better visuals that they had in that version, okay? Now, first off, also, it was rumored that the Xbox Showcase was going to be about 2 hours long, and they were going to show a ton of games, like more than 30 games. And then there was going to be an additional half hour for Call of Duty Black Ops 6. Well, that was a lie. The actual Xbox Game Showcase was barely 90 minutes, okay? And the Call of Duty portion was about 20 minutes. So all in all, you can watch the entirety of the Raw broadcast, about an hour and 40 to 45 minutes. You can watch my live react to it on this channel. It should be live shortly, or, you know, give it a little bit to process, but I'm going to actually have it uploaded right after this. So definitely be on the lookout for that if you want to see me live react, okay? Now, one other thing, which I will mention at the end of my recap reactions, there was absolutely a running theme throughout this show that everyone in my chat was talking about and groaning about, and I was like, I'm not even going to say anything, right? And I literally didn't, but I'm not going to say anything, all right? I'm just going to let you guys talk about it over the stream, okay? And I will talk about it in the recap reactions. And I know you guys are going to probably bring it up, all right? We'll bring it up at the end. Okay, let's get started. So the first thing that they showed off was Black Ops 6. You're like, wait, what? Why are they showing off Black Ops 6? I thought it gets its own event at the end. Well, I think they actually believed that no one was going to watch till the end, or a lot of people were going to dip once the Black Ops part started. So they actually put like a big trailer for Black Ops 6 at the beginning of this show. Yes, it's true. It's following along the plot lines of the previous Black Ops games, notably Black Ops 2. But I'll talk way more in detail about that at the end of the show, because I did watch the Black Ops, and we're going to talk about that, the Black Ops segment. Okay. Then, Phil Spencer on screen, welcoming everyone. Literally, they did not mention whatsoever anything about any of the horrible press that they have been getting in the last several months in regards to the Activision Blizzard merger, in regards to laying off entire game studios that they owned. Nothing mentioned whatsoever, which I honestly think is stupid. I think that they want to man up and be like, sorry, this is happening, it's part of the business, but we're committing or whatever. Nothing. Just as if it never happened, right? We're not supposed to know about that. We're all dumb and ignorant, and we didn't know that they just got rid of Tango Gameworks and all these other studios, right? Okay, whatever you say, Mr. Spencer. So, the first game they actually showed, okay, well, actually what they did say, and this is what Phil Spencer was there for, he says, from now on, Call of Duty, now that we own it, will now be simultaneously the exact same version, same features, and same everything on the same exact day across platforms. What he's referencing is that Call of Duty has had timed exclusivity deals both with PlayStation and Microsoft over the years. Oh, you own it on this console and you'll get the beta early. You own it on this console, you'll get exclusive maps. You own it on this console, you'll get this, you'll get that. You know what I'm saying? Well, yeah. In this case, he's saying no more of that. We just want it to be equal across the board, no matter what. Okay? And it was announced Call of Duty Black Ops 6 will be coming out October 25th on Game Pass. Okay, that's the launch day. okay? And yes, it is officially on Game Pass. The first game that they really showed was Doom: The Dark Ages, okay? Now, I already kind of told you guys my thoughts about this game. Let me recap. When Doom 2016 came out, I loved it. And the reason I loved it is because it was an homage to the classic Doom games, but it added new elements like the platforming and the more visceral systems of, build up your armor, build up the health packs, build up the rage mode, do all that. And I liked that. It added some variety to the gameplay. It didn't just feel like old Doom. It modernized it a bit, but it definitely respected old Doom. The style of the game felt like you were playing an old Doom game. There were hidden rooms that actually had old Doom graphics in them, and they were the Easter eggs of the game. And the plot as well was in line with old Doom, with like sci-fi horror. Really liked Doom 2016. Was excited for what the franchise was going to do next. And then Doom Eternal came out. And I didn't like Doom Eternal. And everyone knows that. I've said it over the years. What were my reasons? Well, Doom Eternal took the idea of a one-man army against all odds saving humanity from this alien invasion from hell and turned it into this weird sci-fi out there plot. There's angel aliens and demon aliens, and the Doomslayer actually was a hero before the events of Doom, but no one knew it. And now, he's a space fucking god or something. It's like, what the fuck are you talking about? The whole idea of Doom is that there is a guy who is so resilient, okay, that he will not be defeated by insurmountable odds. Against all odds, he's scraping and clawing for ammo and weapons, and he's just blowing away all the monsters. He's supposed to be the ultimate silent protagonist badass. That's the idea of the Doom Slayer, or the Doom Marine, which is really what he used to be called, or Doom Guy, right? That's the whole idea. And what they did is they decided to completely transform it into this weird-ass plot that I hated. In addition to that, they took the gameplay of Doom and literally removed it from Doom. Now Doom Eternal is more this visceral, non-stop, never taking a break. Roll over here, kill these enemies, charge up this element, so you can then go over here, kill these enemies, charge up the other one, use the rage mode, do this, you got your health back. Now you can try to get your armor pieces back. Then you got, it's this kind of endless cycle of combat with no breaks and no intelligence to it. I hate to say, like, that's all it is. It's non-stop adrenaline action. And I get it, but that's not what Doom was always about, ever. Like, if you look at the Doom games and where they came from, that wasn't the spirit of Doom. You were always searching for cool secrets and hidden areas and all kinds of stuff. And it's all lost when all it is a zillion enemies tossed at you at once. Kill everything, kill everything, kill everything, kill everything, kill everything, kill everything. You lost the spirit of what Doom was. And that's why I didn't like Doom Eternal, okay? Not that it was a bad game. It certainly wasn't. I just didn't like it. It's like you evolved it to be for a different audience. I get it. But what happened to the people who grew up in the 90s playing Doom? Like, I had much more fun playing Doom 2 than I did playing Doom Eternal. I played them like back to back, and Doom 2 was a better experience to me. Okay? So now when you say, Doom: The Dark Ages coming out in 2025. So this is the prequel story when the Doomslayer was a hero in space before he became the Space Marine, and he's flying through with superpowers, and he's fucking got medieval weapons, and he's got a fucking cape and armor on, so he looks like a knight, and all his enemies have fucking medieval armor on. It's like, what the fuck are you talking about? No, really. You could have made this game and not have it be Doom, and it still would have been good, but why do you have to make this Doom? So now what you've done is you've killed all of our hopes that you'll ever make a classic-style FPS ever again, because you took the classic FPS and you turned it into something bastardized for your own purposes. There's nothing wrong with the game. It could be a great game, but why does it have to be fucking Doom? And why do you have to do this? Like, this is not... I don't want to even believe this is the canon story now for Doom. You fucked it up. So I look at this and I'm like, I have absolutely no interest in this game. I'm looking at it, I'm like, dude, I don't think I'm going to play it. It doesn't look like... None of the gameplay looks like anything that would be Doom. It's just exactly what you saw in Doom Eternal, but now even bigger, because now you got melee weapons and you got crazy shit. Like, I just like, what the fuck, dude? I don't get it, all right? I just don't. And if you like it, that's fine. I'm not going to hate on the game, because the game mechanics look sound and fine, but that's just not my style of game. I didn't like Doom Eternal. If this game is just Doom Eternal even pushed further in that direction, then I'm probably skipping it. I'm just being honest, and it sucks because I love Doom. And how much you want to bet this would look amazing in my setup, too, now that I've got everything running at high frame rate and everything. But I just don't really care. about this, you know? Now, Lady Charisma says, what about Far Cry Blood Dragon, which did kind of the same thing? That was a what-if spin-off scenario that didn't affect the main games. Far Cry continued as Far Cry, and it was just a one-off random spin-off that was weird. In this case, you've taken the franchise and pushed the whole thing in that direction. There's no more regular Doom anymore. That's what I'm upset about. Like when Doom 2016 came out, we were like, wow, Doom can exist in the modern era. This is a great way to do it. And then Doom Eternal comes out, you're like, you've lost what Doom is. This isn't even Doom anymore. And now it's even further that bad. So it's like, God, you know? So listen, if it's your cup of tea and you like it, great. It is Game Pass, by the way. Maybe I would give it a shot just because it's Game Pass. But dude, I'm probably not going to like it. I'm just being honest. You know, I wanted Doom, and this is not Doom anymore. This is their weirdo modern interpretation of what Doom should be, and it's nothing like what the spirit of the game originally was. Anyway, comes out in 2025. No date yet. State of Decay 3. They show a trailer, and the trailer is 3 women, all right, basically trying to survive with all these zombies coming after them. And this guy gets, I guess, tries to save them and gets murdered by the zombies. So they grab a little dinosaur trinket off of him and they save it. And then the women escape, and they show like this memorial wall later, and they put his thing up there. And that's like it, right? And what's funny about this is, watching, I'm like, what does this have to do with the game exactly? Like, we know they're zombies. Like, we've played State of Decay 1 and 2, or we've at least seen it. We know they're zombies. But this cinematic intro literally tells you absolutely nothing about State of Decay 3. It doesn't show any gameplay. It doesn't explain any elements of the game. It's just, oh, it's coming. No release date, no information whatsoever. I was like, this is a waste of my fucking time. They should have never put this out. It's stupid. It served no purpose. Okay. Now the next one was a really weird one. They start to show like a cinematic of a fantasy game, all right? And it has some dwarves, and it has some mages and stuff, and I'm like, wait, what is this? It's hard to tell what it is. But then they start to reveal, oh, there's a veil jumper. I was like, veil jumper, wait a minute. This is Dragon Age. The reason you can't figure out it's Dragon Age, they completely changed the visual style of the game. It doesn't look like Dragon Age anymore. They actually made it look like Fortnite or like World of Warcraft or Overwatch. They dumbed down the graphics to look more cartoony. I don't know why they did that. It also looks like they're making it more almost like Guardians of the Galaxy comedy. Like, that's what it looked like. Like, it looked like everything's more comedic. Like, they were introducing characters, and it was like comedic introductions to each character. And I was like, I don't know. Like, Dragon Age used to be gritty, visceral, adult gore, serious decisions, serious repercussions. Is this whole game now going to be like a comedy? I don't know. It's kind of weird. It feels like they're taking this series in a completely different direction. Okay? And the announcement was that it's called Dragon Age 4 The Veilguard. Now, we knew that from the other day. It comes out fall, in this fall, which we didn't know. We thought that, you know, it was still in development. It comes out in the fall. Now, there's supposed to be this coming Tuesday, the 11th of June. There's actually supposed to be an actual like gameplay reveal. So you're going to see the gameplay for the first time on Tuesday, and I guess we'll have to figure out if it's good or not at that point. But, you know, I like Dragon Age. I've played all of them. And obviously, I was looking forward to Dragon Age 4. But I don't know. Like, now it's kind of like, that's a little weird. Why are they changing the visuals and the tone? Did they change everything? Like, I wonder how it's going to play. Will it even play like the previous games? Did they change that too? I don't know. Okay. Up next, Starfield is getting an expansion called Shattered Space by the end of this year. No release date yet. At first, it almost looks like Doom. Like, portals are opening up everywhere, and there's cross-dimensional monsters and things going on. What's weird about it is I didn't even know this, and then after the presentation ended, I was reading quick on social media, and it says, so it's all about the House of Varun. And I was like, we watched the whole trailer for this Shattered Space. They didn't even say House of Varun once. Like, you wouldn't even known this is involving House of Varun if it didn't say it on social media. Like, what the fuck? It's so weird. So it was weird to me that it looked like kind of almost like a Doom invasion storyline. And then they also said there's new content coming tonight for Starfield. Like, community creations are being added and shit like that. So I'm watching it now. Now, for the record, apparently a lot has changed since Starfield came out last year in September. Apparently the game has been updated and patched, and now Starfield supposedly runs really well. It runs at full 60 frames, much better visuals, bugs fixed, and the game feels like a more finished game than it was at launch, okay? I mean, that's great and all, but maybe you should have had that at fucking launch, because that game was a mess at launch. The frame rate was terrible, the gunplay was awful, it was full of bugs like any, Bethesda game always is, and it was always also pretty boring. After you play for like 15 hours, you realize, wow, this is the whole game. So, I'm not convinced at all that this is going to be a DLC that's going to save Starfield. Also, they actually didn't mention if it's free or not. Now, Starfield's on Game Pass. Does that mean that this DLC will be on Game Pass as well? They didn't mention that. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. Maybe there's information's out there. I don't know because they didn't outright say that in the show. I wish they did, but I don't know if it's going to be free or not, okay? If it's free, maybe it's worth another look, correct? Maybe update Starfield, install the DLC, give it a few hours, try, and see if it's worth playing. I don't know. Okay. Fallout 76 expansion is coming June 12th. I don't care. It's something to do with like some national park and stuff like that. I don't care about Fallout 76, but if you like it, check it out. Finally, they started showcasing some really new stuff. So there's this game that's based on, apparently there's someone who is painting a universe or a world, but then keeps destroying it and killing off things in the world and then repaints it again. And I guess the people who live in this world are really upset about this because they're like, these are our loved ones who are being like painted but then killed off, and this needs to be stopped. It's a beautiful game. The visuals are gorgeous. It's called Expedition 33, and apparently it's about a group of people who live in this world who are just fed up with this, whoever this painter, creator, god, or goddess is who keeps destroying things. And it's a turn-based RPG, and the visuals are absolutely gorgeous. To me, this was the first actual thing in the show that got me interested and excited, and it's coming out in 2025, supposedly. So something looked good. I was like, whoa, okay. Then they showed off another game that looked completely interesting. There's a giant catfish with a woman, a black woman riding this catfish, a young black woman. Like, I don't know if she was a teenager or like early 20s or whatever. But interestingly enough, immediately it shows off a low frame rate, but it's the artistic low frame rate that they used in the movie Spider-Man, like the Spider-Verse movies. So it was definitely a design choice, okay? So the fish is talking, and he's talking in a southern, like, Louisiana accent, and it looks like they may be in, like, a bayou, so maybe this game is set in Louisiana in the United States. I'm not sure. And then the woman jumps off of the catfish and starts doing platforming and flying, and I was like, this kind of looks like Infamous to me. Like, the gameplay elements totally looked like Infamous. So then the game started, like, combat, and she's fighting, like, these creatures and a giant monster, but all of a sudden the game transitions to full 60 frames per second. And I was like, so they went for the artistic low frame rate, but then when it went to the combat, they went to high frame rate. It was a little weird that they jumped from one to the other like that. I didn't really understand that transition. I mean, I understand you want the combat to look good, and maybe you want to be responsive in the combat. Maybe if it was low frame rate, it would be very hard to play. But it just was very jarring that it was going for one thing in the cutscenes and then immediately changed for combat. Anyway, the game is called South of Midnight. It's coming out in 2025, and it looked good. Like, so I would say Expedition 33 and South of Midnight, two back-to-back new games announced that actually both looked pretty interesting to me. So, there you go. Check those out if you're interested in something new, okay? World of Warcraft, the War Within expansion comes out August 26th. Apparently, it's a big culmination, ginormous culmination thing. That of the plot lines of World of Warcraft. I don't know because I haven't played World of Warcraft since like the mid-2000s, so I have no clue what's happened in the plot. But yeah, the big cinematics and everything, and it's coming in August if you're interested in World of Warcraft. Konami, yes, they made an appearance. The Metal Gear Solid 3 remake, or Metal Gear Solid Delta, whatever they're calling it, Snake Eater. They show it off, and it looks pretty faithful to Metal Gear Solid 3, with better graphics and probably some modernized controls. What's weird is the David Hayter voice acting. I'm listening to it, I'm like, it just doesn't sound right. And everyone's like, yeah, they're essentially using the original sound work from the original game, which is what, like 20 years old now? So to hear that in a modern setting, in a modern game, it just sounds odd, you know? I guess because they want to pay David Hayter to do the voice work again. Obviously, Kojima's not involved anymore. But anyway, it looks interesting. No information whatsoever. No release date, nothing. Gee, thanks. Love that. Love that you showed it off and have absolutely nothing to tell us about it. Sea of Thieves is getting a new expansion. Season 13 starts July 25th. I don't care about Sea of Thieves, but maybe you do. They showed off another game called Flintlock: The Siege of Dawn, which again stars an African-American woman. I say African-American, it's not African-American, it's black woman, because this is set in Europe, so she can't be African-American. It's set in Europe. I think it's set in France. And there's a woman, a black woman, going around with powers and shooting guns and doing stuff like that. This game apparently comes out July 25th. It was so weird because no one had ever heard of this game before. Flintlock: The Siege of Dawn. And it comes out in a month. If you're watching it, you're like, what? Like, what is this? I couldn't really tell if it was good or not. Like, it's hard to tell when it's the first time you're seeing any gameplay of a game. But it's weird because it's like we just saw a game that looked similar. Like, South of Midnight kind of looked similar. Except this one's in Europe and in France. And it has different kinds of weapons. But it looks like it's like a very similar game. So I was kind of scratching my head about this one. And it comes out in a month, so who knows if it's any good. This was interesting. Age of Mythology apparently is getting a re-release, like a modern remake, called Age of Mythology Retold. Comes out September 4th, and it's on Game Pass. So what this is, it's like a, RTS game where you have a civilization you're building, kind of like Age of Empires, but there's gods and monsters involved as well. I never played this, but some people in chat were actually going, oh, wow, this is really, really cool, because they thought, to see this game come back, I guess there hasn't been anything new with this in a very long time. Looks all right. I don't know if anyone would like to see me try that out because it's on Game Pass. But yeah, that is coming out September 4th, pretty soon. Okay. Let's see here. So they show off a game where there's a woman airdropping in from like space in like a suit. She lands in a city that's a futuristic city. The art style reminded me of like Dishonored, but it's sci-fi futuristic. She's using technology to scan things in the city and get her bearings. And then she starts using, like, stealth and parkour to get around the city. She's wall running. She's air jumping and stuff. Finally, she gets inside of a building and she starts fighting, taking down enemies. Then she pulls out guns. She's shooting them. And people recognized the voice actress and said, oh my God, this is Perfect Dark. And they were right. It actually is a new Perfect Dark game. It doesn't look to me like previous Perfect Dark games, but to see Perfect Dark come back after so long is pretty crazy that they're rebooting this franchise, apparently. And, yeah, so basically, it's on Game Pass. That's great, but no information whatsoever about when it's coming out. Apparently, it's still in earlier development. So, Perfect Dark is coming back. Diablo 4, Vessel of Hatred. The new expansion for Diablo 4 is coming out October 8th. Literally, they show absolutely nothing of it. Instead, they decide to show like a 5-minute story cutscene that unless you've been following Diablo 4, you have no clue what the fuck is going on. So it was completely worthless to anyone unless you're a super fan of Diablo 4. Personally, I could care less. I played Diablo 4 last year. It was kind of meh. Didn't really love it or anything. So I'm not going back to it. Fable. An update on Fable. Yes, they still have the same female protagonist that they showed a couple years ago when they first showcased Fable. She's still there. Yes, everyone is still complaining about her looks. And the new character is called Humphrey. Humphrey is supposedly supposed to be like some legendary hero of Albion who is now retired and has like this manor. And so the female protagonist goes to see him and I guess he like mentors her. They showed a little bit of gameplay, but to me, like, it didn't look like it was real gameplay. It looked like it was more like pre-rendered cinematic made to look like gameplay. But it's kind of like a third-person action game. More of a modern perspective on third-person action where you're much closer to the character than, say, previous Fable games. Looks like you still have melee combat. You still have some range weapons and stuff like that. But it doesn't really show much. Basically, it was more of a story than anything else. Coming out in 2025. That's all we know. Okay. A new 5 versus 5 hero shooter called Fragpunk is coming out. It features cards and things you redeem to get abilities during the matches. It looks pretty fucking bad. It looks like another rip-off hero shooter. No one's asking for these. I don't know why they're still making them. Plus, it looks like it's probably going to be rife with microtransactions from the way they were showing it. Not too interested in that one. I don't even know when that one comes out because I don't even think they even said. If they did, I ignored it. Okay. They show a mouse, a cartoon mouse. It's a female mouse, by the way, because they start talking, and at first I was like, is that a narrator just talking about this mouse? Oh, no, it's actually supposed to be the mouse talking, but it's like a anthropomorphic mouse, so it's dressed up in, like, clothing, and it looks like it's walking around and trying to survive, solving puzzles and stuff. I'm not really sure what the game's going to be. It's called Winter Burrow 2025. It's coming out. What's really sad is at the end, so they show this mouse doing stuff. At the end, the mouse is talking to another mouse, and a giant owl comes down and grabs the mouse and flies away. I was like, that is the coolest thing. You're introducing your game, right? And it's like, oh, it's a cute mouse. Oh, look, a mouse is brutally murdered at the end of this showcase. I was like, what? It's so messed up. Like, did they really have to do that? You're first introducing your game. You really have to have the owl kill the mouse? Like, come on. Anyway, Winter Burrow 2025. There's another game coming out. It features 3 females who are teens who apparently are spending some kind of a summertime together, hanging out with some guy in a car. They apparently have superpowers because the car is floating and they're flying through the fields. And it's supposed to be like a time of teen discovery. Does this sound familiar yet? A game about female teen discovery and stuff like that. It's called Mixtape. It's coming out in 2025. And it features an all 1980s soundtrack. And apparently the music is a big part of it. Like they're showing some of the track list, Iggy Pop and other stuff. Like, oh, okay. So it seems like they're going for, yes, the same kind of stuff, like a Life is Strange and a bunch of other games that have come out in the last few years, kind of a vibe, okay? Okay. Oh, by the way, that game also was of the very artistic low frame rate as the Spider-Verse movies. Basically, everyone's biting off of Spider-Verse now because Spider-Verse was very successful being artistic with a lower frame rate. So now everyone's doing this. They're all doing this lower frame rate animation style. Okay. No rap on the mixtape. Absolutely not. Three teenage 80s girls listening to rap? Absolutely not. That never happened. You can't have that in this game. Someone asked in the chat. Okay. Continuing on. This one actually piqued my interest. Microsoft Flight Simulator is back. There's a new one, 2024, coming out November 19th on Game Pass. And I'm excited for that because a few years back, if you remember, Microsoft Flight Sim hit Game Pass. And during a summer, or I think it was like 2-3 years ago, we actually flew all over the place around the world. We had these nice, chill, late-night flight simulator streams where people would actually pick landmarks or like actual like latitude, longitude places to go on Earth. And I would actually fly there and we would see all this scenery and architecture. And people would come on the stream and talk because they were like, oh, this is where I'm from. Let me tell you all about it. And they would describe the buildings and things. It was really chill and really fun. I had a great time during those chill Flight Simulator streams. So I'm happy to see Flight Simulator come back now with a new one this fall, November 19th. 2 thumbs up for me on that one. Elder Scrolls. Yes, finally. We finally get an update on Elder Scrolls Online. Elder Scrolls Online is getting an expansion called Gold Road on June 18th. We've had 10 fucking years of Elder Scrolls Online. 10 years. Do you know that? And I said during my live react, every dollar spent on Elder Scrolls Online at this point is preventing the release of Elder Scrolls 6. And I'm sorry, but it's sad but true. People love Elder Scrolls, and I get that. But when people jump into the microtransaction frenzy of these games and they keep them alive, it means the next game you want isn't coming. Do you really think it's taking them over a decade to make GTA 6? No. They wanted to keep milking GTA Online because people were dumb and kept spending money. Do you really think it takes them 15 fucking years to make Elder Scrolls 6? No. But people keep spending money on Elder Scrolls Online, so you're prolonging the wait. So I'm sorry. 10 years ago when they announced Elder Scrolls Online, I was like, oh, maybe it's exciting. And then everyone was like, yeah, it's an MMO and this and that. My wife tried it once. Nah, didn't look very good. She dropped it within like 1 session. She did not like it. Kind kind of similar to me, like Fallout 76. I know that there's an audience for it. It's just not me. And I'm tired of people complaining that we're not getting new installments of franchises, but then they go and drop a ton of money into a fucking microtransaction rife online game that prevents the new game from being made. Again, our industry is a symptom of the behaviors of the customers. If the customers had better behavior, we probably would have better games, but you can't make people not spend, you know? It doesn't matter that it's a different studio entirely from the mainline Elder Scrolls games at all. It doesn't matter. They will keep focusing on what makes them money. They know right now they've got lines of revenue. That's where the focus is. Why do you think we have 7 million expansions for Elder Scrolls Online and we still have no information about Elder Scrolls 6? There's a reason for it. Use your fucking brain. Okay. Continuing on. Get this. Life is Strange is back, but not how you think. It's actually the original Life is Strange continuing on. They've ditched the plot lines of Life is Strange 2 and Life is Strange True Colors. And Max Caulfield, however you say your name, is back. How? She died at the end of Life is Strange 1, remember? Does anyone remember the game? At the end of Life is Strange 1, she sacrifices herself in order to end the storm that's about to destroy the town. So how is she back at another game? Will they retcon the end of Life is Strange 1? Maybe, because she's older now. She's actually older now. And basically in the plot of this one, she's friends with a group of friends, and apparently one of her friends is murdered. Okay? So what she does is she rewinds time, and she creates a multiverse. Now, what's sad about this, I hate to say, is that now multiverse is the canon of everything, right? Like every single game, every single plot is multiverse. But if you actually go back in time to the original Life is Strange like 10 years ago, the whole I rewind time and I change time to make things for the better, right, was something new and different back then. So in this case, you can't actually blame them. Like they actually had the idea early, and it's just that everything else decided to fucking copy it. So I actually can't complain about this one. All right, this was something very interesting at that point, okay? Now, in regards to the plot, I guess what she's going to do is she's going to try to rewind time and fix it so that this woman or her friend doesn't get murdered. But apparently she creates a multiverse fracture where there's two different versions of each person, and I guess that's the plot now. So it is Life is Strange 1 continuing on as an older Max Caulfield, and she still has her powers, and it's kind of interesting in that regard. So for me, I'm actually interested in this. I am. I'm legit interested. I liked the original Life is Strange. I didn't like the prequel series. I didn't like the sequel. I actually did like True Colors. So for me, this is kind of interesting. But it says it's coming out October 29th. Yeah, it's called Life is Strange Double Exposure, and it comes out October 29th. I'm actually interested in it, and I actually think I want to play it. So, there you go. If you're I mean, if for me, I think it's about time, because I think Life is Strange 2 is atrociously bad. I actually liked True Colors, but there's nowhere else for True Colors to go. It was a standalone game. So this is cool that now they're advancing the plot for the first time in how many years? I mean, Life is Strange 1 came out a really long time ago, right? Wasn't it like 2015, 2016, something like that? So it's been a long time. Okay, continuing on. Indiana Jones and the world's perfect circle of golden truth. I don't even remember what the name of the game is, sorry. But they basically showed an extended look at the new indie game. And my take is, it feels like an indie movie. Like, the voice actor is pretty close to Harrison Ford. He's not dead on, but he's pretty close, especially the mannerisms and stuff. Who is the voice actor? Is it Troy Baker? I wouldn't be surprised if it was Troy Baker. I don't know if it is, but I wouldn't be surprised if it is. He's really close to Harrison Ford with his mannerisms and everything. But basically what they showed was a whole bunch, like a giant cinematic movie sequence that feels like it's straight out of an indie movie. And then the gameplay looked decent, but the thing is, it is Troy Baker? You gotta be shitting me. I didn't even know that. Is it really Troy Baker? The gameplay is what I'm a little questioned about, because they didn't show a lot of gameplay. they're showing, oh, he's whipping things, he's punching, but most of what they showed was like cinematic. And I'm wondering, is this game going to be mostly cinematic with some gameplay in between, or is it going to have a lot of gameplay? It's kind of, I don't know. You couldn't really tell from this what they were showing, okay? But I am interested in it. I am. And apparently it's Game Pass, and apparently it comes out this year, but it just doesn't have a date yet. So we don't know exactly when it's going to come out yet, but I'm interested in it. Why? Because I love the indie movies. The old ones, excuse me. Not Crystal Skull and whatever that last one was. I didn't see it. But the indie trilogy is super good. It's not Troy Baker. I thought it was Troy. I totally thought it was Troy Baker for a second there. You guys had me. You guys are pulling my leg. Okay. Anyway, now I'm saying it is Troy Baker. Are you serious? Is it Troy Baker? It is. It's really Troy Baker. Oh my God. I said, this voice, you can tell it's not Harrison Ford, but I was like, dude, it's really close. And I started thinking in my head, this is probably Troy Baker because he's such a good voice actor. I bet they would get him for this. And now you guys are saying it's Troy Baker. Wow. Well, I'm down for that game. Okay, another game that I actually am really interested in. Mecha Breaker. Wait. Mecha Break, excuse me. I wrote it down wrong. It's a fast-paced mecha combat game. Like, and now I say fast-paced, I mean, this shit is like lightning fast. Like, the graphics were crazy. And I'm looking at it, I'm like, dude, this is gonna look sick at high res, high frame rate. And the mechs are going crazy. They're dodging. They're zooming in and hitting with crazy swords. They're launching in the air. Giant rains of lasers coming down. But then they're cloning and doing like these dodges. I was like, dude, it looks so good. Seriously. So to me, this game is super cool. And this is coming out, sadly, in 2025. But there's supposed to be a beta sometime in 2024. Okay? But it looks great. Like, that looks really, really good. Exactly. Carlton Jr. says it looked like more high-octane version of Armored Core mixed with Transformers. Yeah, it looked really good to me. Like, Armored Core was good, but this looks like super fast-moving and everything. So, I would say, you know, probably out of all the games here, that's definitely one of the ones I'm interested in. Then they showed a game. I think she's a Japanese woman who apparently is fighting demons. Combat, I couldn't really tell if it was like, you know, similar to more Devil May Cry or something else. But then she turns into a demon. And it's called Wu Chang Fallen Feathers. And it's coming out in 2025. And I said Wu Tang. Starring the RZA, the Shizza, the Ghostface Killer, the Old Dirty Bastard. Wu Tang Clan. It's just, I'm sorry. Wu Chang? You didn't think that people were going to say that? It's too close. Change the name. Anyway. Wu-Tang Clan ain't nothing to fuck with. Let's continue. Avowed. Here's a weird thing about Avowed, okay? It doesn't look like what they showed off previously at all. Like, they were showing gameplay, and it looks way different, and in my opinion, the visuals have been greatly improved in the animations. So they're showing Avowed, and they barely showed anything of it, too. It was only like maybe 30 seconds. And I had no clue it was Avowed at all. And at the end, they're like, Avowed. I was like, what? It didn't even look the same to me. Like, holy shit. Anyway, sadly, no updates. There was like no information on it. Like, we don't know the exact release date of Avowed yet, do we? And they still didn't give one. We know it's coming out this year, but we just don't know when. Then there was a game. Had me scratching my head. All right, there's mech suits walking around. There's mutants that look like they've been mutated from nuclear fallout. There's all kinds of things that look kind of similar to something that you probably already know. But then it says it's in Britain because they show one of the red phone booths that are very quintessential of British culture. The name of the game is called Atomfall. And when the trailer ended, I literally said to the chat, I said, does that look familiar to anything? And everyone's like, Fallout, 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 Fallout. It looks like they made a British Fallout. It looks like exactly like Fallout. Only with maybe, I don't know, maybe a different tone because it's British. But it totally looks like British Fallout. Supposedly that's coming next year. Then they showed off Assassin's Creed Shadows. Comes out November 15th. And they showed some of the first gameplay elements. The female protagonist, whose name eludes me right now, I've totally forgotten her name, looks way more actiony than you would have thought, because you're thinking it's Assassin's Creed. She's going to be a silent assassin doing stealth. No, she looked like she was doing like giant flip kicks and aerial things, and I was like, she looks like way more action based than I thought. Looks more like a combat ninja game than an Assassin's Creed game. Then they showed the male protagonist. We all know, everyone's been up in a buzz about this because he's a black samurai in Japan, based on a real life person who I guess did actually live in Japan back in the day historically. And his combat is essentially kind of like similar to the combat of Ghost of Tsushima, where it's like dueling hand-to-hand samurai style with the enemies. So, to me, it looks like it could be good, but I'm not sure yet. I'm just not sure yet. I guess I'm scratching my head about this one because a lot of people are on the fence about it. Keep in mind, though, this game is on, what do they call it? Ubisoft Plus or whatever. So as long as you have Game Pass, you have Ubisoft Plus, so you don't have to buy... Oh, wait, no, I take that back. Ubisoft Plus is not... It's EA Access that's in Game Pass. Ubisoft Plus you have to pay for. That's right. It'll be on Ubisoft Plus, and Ubisoft Plus is like $15 a month. So if you're interested in it, but you're not sold on it, you could just pay the $15 and play it for a month and see if you want to buy it. That's probably what I'm going to do. Okay. Stalker 2. Actual, like, for me, first serious gameplay I've seen of Stalker 2. Comes out September 5th, and it looked interesting to me. It looks like a pretty interesting modern hybrid game. It's like FPS combat with RPG elements. I can't really, like, put my finger on what it's going to be, but it looked pretty decent to me from what I saw. And keep in mind, this is a game studio based in the Ukraine. They've been at war for a few years now, or a couple years now, and they still continue development of this game, which is pretty crazy, right? So, interesting. September 5th. And then they announced a whole new line of Xbox consoles. There will be a new all-digital Xbox Series X. There will be a new generation of X and S, although really I don't think that there's much difference besides maybe storage space. But they're going to be white instead of black. You can get a white Xbox Series S and X. And I think the pricing was announced online that the Xbox Series S will be $399. The X will be like $449, the all digital one, and then I think the one with the disc drive is like $5 something. I don't know. The price is a little weird, but if you want a new Xbox console that's white, it's that important to you, I guess you can get one. But I don't think any of the specs are different besides the hard drive size. So I don't really see the purpose. If you already have one, there's no reason to get another one. And then the last thing they showed before they got to Call of Duty was Gears of War. But not what you think. They did not do Gears of War... What were we looking for? 6? No. No. Or is it 7? Whatever the next one there was going to be, they're not doing that. They decided instead to say, to hell with all that, no one cares about it. We're going to do a prequel. Gears of War E-Day. The story about Emergence Day, when the Locust came out of the ground and invaded Earth, so all of Earth has all of its structures and everything intact, and they're getting destroyed in this game. So you play as young Dom, basically, which is kind of interesting. Here's the thing. I don't like prequels. I don't. But in this case, we haven't had Gears of War in a long time. We've never actually experienced E-Day ever, right? It's just in the lore. So this will be neat maybe to actually see the whole human civilization get destroyed. Did I say young Dom? I meant to say young Marcus. I'm sorry. I said the wrong name. It's young Marcus that was in the trailer, not young Dom. That's right. Marcus Phoenix. Thank you for correcting me. I said the wrong name. It's young Marcus Phoenix in the trailer they show. So it's kind of interesting. I don't know how it's going to be, but that's what they're going with, okay? And that's that. The Xbox Showcase. That's it. So, in summary, before we get to Black Ops, because there's a big thing about Black Ops that I'm going to cover. I'm not going to go too much into detail about it. It was like 25 minutes. So, what did I like and dislike? Okay, let's go right through it. I like the fact that Call of Duty will now be simultaneous across all platforms. No more someone gets advantage. I like that idea. I don't like Doom the Dark Ages. It looked terrible for me. State of Decay 3 was a joke. They showed nothing. Dragon Age 4 is a weird one because I'm interested in the game, but man, it looks like they changed a lot. So I guess we'll have to see this coming week with the gameplay reveal, what comes of that. I really don't care about the Starfield expansion unless it's free. Maybe then I'll try it. Don't care about Fallout 76. Expedition 33 looks interesting. It's intriguing to me. South of Midnight looks interesting. It's intriguing to me. World of Warcraft expansion, don't care. Metal Gear Solid 3 Remake looks good. The problem is no information on it whatsoever. Kind of stupid. Don't care about Sea of Thieves. The Flintlock game was confusing. Age of Mythology Retold, maybe. Kind of interesting. Perfect Dark. Yeah, I actually am interested in that. Looks a lot like kind of like a futuristic sci-fi Dishonored. So that looks cool to me. Diablo 4 expansion, don't care. Fable I'm interested in, but no real information. Really don't care about Fragpunk. Winter Burrow, probably not. Mixtape, I really don't think so. Microsoft Flight Simulator, big thumbs up for me. Really excited for that. Don't care about Elder Scrolls Online. Life is Strange Double Exposure, interested in that. Indie game, definitely interested in that. Mecha Break looks great to me, so that was a really good positive one. Wu-Chang Fallen Feathers, don't really know or care. Avowed looks good, but no information about the actual release date. Atomfall, interesting, wondering if it's any good. Assassin's Creed Shadows, really don't know what to make of it yet. Stalker 2 could be good. And Gears of War E-Day might be interesting. So honestly, I was pretty interested in most of in half of it, I would say. Like half of it was pretty good and half of it was not so good. So I'm not going to be like, oh, huge thumbs down or anything. But at the same time, I really wish a lot more of these games had release dates, and a lot of these are disappointing. Now, let's just, before we talk about Black Ops, let's talk about the elephant in the room, okay? There was a big running theme over this event that a lot of the protagonists of these games are now female, and a lot of them were minority / black or Asian, and a lot of people were like, what the hell gives? It was like game after game after game. It's like they were going out of their way to make the protagonist of every single game a female, and in a lot of cases considered a minority, okay? And you might say, what is going on here? Is this the woke age of gaming? And everyone's going to have a different opinion about this. Some people are like, well, I like that because in the 90s and 2000s, it was always about some fucking stupid white guy, you know, who's either bald or grizzly, being some kind of fucking over-the-top, you know, action protagonist. And maybe now it's time to change that, right? But here's what I'm going to say. This is what game developers need to be careful about, all right? When you go so far in another direction, you now risk changing the stereotype to a different stereotype. The whole idea of trying to diversify is just that, to diversify, but not to create a stereotype on the other side, right? So when you're watching Xbox Game Showcase 2024, and it's a woman, a black woman, an Asian woman, a woman, a black woman, an Asian woman, a woman, a black woman, an Asian woman. Wait a minute. What's going on? Right? I get it. Okay, maybe we want to push it to the other side a bit, but not every game. Because then you're going to get overload and you're going to get backlash. So they got to be careful because it seems like this is the actual thing. Oh, now if we're going to be in the in crowd, we have to have a game where the lead's a woman. Hopefully, you know, it's even like a situation where we push a minority woman, and now we can say that we're liberal or whatever. And, you know, now we've reached our, you know, what we're trying to do with games because we're tired of the white male protagonist, okay? Listen, I don't want a white male as the protagonist of every game. I've outright said over the years, I'm the kind of guy, all right, who I don't care who the protagonist is. I don't care if you're male, female, somewhere in between, alien, robot. I don't care if you're black, white, Asian, Indian, purple skin with yellow fucking polka dots. Like, I don't give a shit who you are. What I want is interesting plot, good graphics, great gameplay mechanics, something that hooks me and makes it riveting, that I'm enthralled in your story. I'm enthralled in your game, in your journey. That's what I care about. I could not give two shits about any of that other stuff about the character, okay? So what I'm hoping is that with this movement that we're kind of seeing now, that now they want to go the other way, we're tired of the white male protagonist, okay, but don't just do it for the sake of doing it. Give these characters good stories. Give these characters a reason to be who they are. Give them unique identities. Don't make them all samey because we wanted to push the other way. Because let's be honest, we had the era of the white male protagonist, and it got boring. We didn't care about them anymore because they were all the same. They were all cookie cutter, stupid, badass characters, smoking cigars, kicking ass, ripping guts out. You get tired of the same shit. So if you're going to go the other way, fine, but give us a reason to like that. Don't just give us everything the same in every game and make these characters meaningful, okay? I'm nervous because what happens is when you see a big movement in one direction like this, you get backlash. And I don't want games to be fucking political. I'm going to repeat that. I don't want video games to be fucking political. I'm tired of it. There's politics surrounding us everywhere right now. The last thing we need is politics in every video game because the protagonist is this and this and this. I don't care. I just want to play a video game and enjoy it. I don't want to have these political arguments on streams and shit. It's dumb shit. All right? So I really hope that this is not a push towards the ultimate backlash movement. All right? I really hope not. Fair enough? Okay. Now let's talk about Call of Duty. Black Ops 6 is set in the early 90s. You're going rogue against the government because apparently the government is actually doing some shadowy stuff. It's a combination effort between Treyarch and Raven this time around, not just one studio making it. It's a high-octane spy thriller. The events of Black Ops 2 are canon. For example, Frank Woods is now handicapped due to his attack by the antagonist during that game. You can talk, barter, and manipulate your way through missions now. Certain missions, not all of them. But that's an element that's never been in Call of Duty before. There will be large-scale campaign maps with multiple ways to complete objectives rather than just going gung-ho shooting through everything. There's a casino mission in the game that apparently is going to be completely unique and not like anything seen in Call of Duty before, supposedly. You can now do what's called omnidirectional movement. You can sprint, jump, and dodge in any direction at any time. You no longer can only run forward. There's something called intelligent movement, meaning when you tap, double tap, triple tap, you can have it do different things, and you can program this for accessibility purposes in the menus of the game. There's corner slicing. When you go around a corner now, your gun will auto-angle in a certain way. You can see dirt under the fingernails of the characters because the game is now so immersive. Finally, they listened to my demands of the last 10 years, and they finally put dirt under the fingernails of the protagonist. It's about goddamn time. I've been waiting for this. Obviously, it's something important. You can also customize the HUD of the game. So, for example, you can have the map here, 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 or no map. You could have your bullets and everything here, here, here. They actually showed one person put it in the middle. I'm like, if that's really what you want, if you don't actually want to see anything you're shooting at, go ahead and put your fucking HUD in the middle, I guess. That's kind of weird, right? They are returning to the traditional prestige system. 10 levels of prestige. After that, you hit something called the master leveling system, where there's 1,000 levels to go through, and there's rewards at each level, and it's day one, everyone has it. No more of this weird unlockable prestige system and weirdo shit that they've been doing for the last, 10 years. They're going back to classic Call of Duty prestige. There will be different classes that you can play. There's a theater mode where you can go back and watch things from the previous match. 16 all-new multiplayer maps, although not all of them are available in all modes, but 16 all-new, no rehashes, no returning maps, all completely new from the ground-up maps. However, they said, we don't want to show any of their maps right now because the multiplayer maps spoil the campaign of the game. So if they show you multiplayer maps, you're going to be spoiled on the plot of the game, which is kind of dumb. But I guess that's what they're doing. Now, imagine you buy the game day one. Well, I want to play multiplayer first because that's what everyone plays Call of Duty for. So you play it all day, and it spoils the whole campaign. So now when you're playing the campaign, there's no surprises because you just saw all the shit in the maps. It's like, jeez. Zombies. Returns to round-based zombies. People really hated what they did with zombies in the last one, where I guess it was like open-world weird zombies. They changed it back to round-based zombies. There'll be 2 different zombie maps in this one available at launch. The game launches on August 28th. Excuse me, let me rephrase that. The game does not launch on August 28th. The game has an update on August 28th. They're doing a special presentation called Call of Duty Next. And in that presentation, supposedly they're going to talk more about Warzone. They're going to talk more about multiplayer. They didn't really talk that much about it in this one. So there you go. There's the Call of Duty stuff. Now, what do I think about this? Well, first off, anything that returns more to classic Call of Duty, I'm happy about. As you know, I have not liked what they did with Call of Duty in the last 5 to 10 years. It gets more modern, it gets more dumbed down, it gets more stupid. The era of Black Ops 1 and 2 were really great games. So if you're telling me this game will be more like the classic Call of Duties, I'm all for it. I like the fact that it's all new multiplayer maps, no more rehashing maps you've played in other games. That's cool. Overall, does any of the thing they told me about the campaign get me excited for it? Not really. However, at least the campaign sounds decent and new. Like, that campaign supposedly of the last Modern Warfare was atrocious, so I didn't even play it. I'll probably give this one a go. And of course, the fact that this game is now day one Game Pass is great. It's October 25th. It comes out. So there you go. That was the Black Ops 6 presentation. All right. All right. So overall, what did I think of the Xbox Game Showcase? I'm kind of middle of the road about it. There was definitely some shit there that was just stupid, underwhelming, dumb. There were some games going in directions I don't like Doom. But at the same time, there was a good amount of games that looked decent. Like I said, Expedition 33, South of Midnight, the new Perfect Dark, right? Possibly Fable, I'm not sure yet. Microsoft Flight Simulator, A New Life is Strange, the indie game, Indiana Jones, that is, not an indie game, an Indiana Jones game, and maybe like Avowed and Stalker 2 as well, and even Gears of War doing an E-Day story. All of that is intriguing to me, all right? So I would say much better than Summer Games Fest, but it also wasn't amazing. There was no Elder Scrolls there. There was no new real Fallout content. The stuff that people want from these studios, they didn't really present. Instead, it was, oh, here's another expansion for a game that's already out. Here's another fucking update for something you already knew about. So it gets harder to get excited about these events, and even for the future of games, when it seems like the originality is not there. There was some. It just wasn't a lot. Like I would say 2-3 new IPs look good. But for me, I'm hoping for, can we get an actual release date for some of this stuff? And some of it we did, and some of it we don't. 2025, great. Doesn't mean anything. It was all right. Let's put it that way. It wasn't as bad as it could have been. I felt like it could have been much worse. But at the same time, I was hoping for more. And of course, we didn't get the big ones that we were really looking for. Okay? So I hope you enjoyed this summary of the Xbox Game Showcase, my recap reactions, as well as the Black Ops 6 event. Feel free to leave comments on this video. Let me know what you think. I want to hear your opinion about what we just saw. But in the meantime, thank you very much for watching my fake E3 coverage this year. There is more events, but I'm not going to be covering those live. I'll probably, if you're interested in my future thoughts about any other events going on, check out my daily podcast over on DSP Gaming that I do every morning. That's where I'm going to be talking about that stuff. Okay? Thanks, everyone, for watching, and I will see you soon.